Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Urban Stages Artist Chat. Today, I am with the very handsome, very talented Roderick Lawrence. Shall I call you Roderick or Rod? What do you prefer?
Whatever you want, Sue. For you,
Okay.
we can whatever you want.
My mom used to say, call me anything but late for dinner.
Yes.
Right. So Roderick and I met at Urban Stages when he was appearing in the New York Times Celebrated. I mean, this review was like a kiss to the cast for Bars and Measures, which was an amazing run that got extended several times there at Urban because it was just so successful. It was an awesome play. I was so glad I got to see it, mostly because I got to meet you guys, but the play itself was really spectacular. So tell me, had you worked with Urban before that? Was that your first experience at Urban? How did you actually come to work there at Urban?
No, I had not worked. I knew of it. I have friends who've worked there before in the past few years. I had never met Francis. I think that Francis reached out to my agent.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first audition was set up, and then I went in and I auditioned with just Francis and Kristen,
Mm-hmm.
and it was cool. It was cool. They had me come in. We went straight into the theater, and I was like, okay. And then Francis like kind of whispered with Kristen for a minute, and then she was like, we want to offer you the show. We want you to do the show. And I was like,
so it was it.
Like, it was really wild.
Had you met the other people in the cast, or did you know the other people in the cast?
No, I didn't.
Because you guys were tight. I'll tell you, it seemed like you've been working together forever.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like, we all meshed really well, really quickly. Like, after that day, they had me come to like a callback they were having after an open call, I believe they had. They had me read with some guys for Bilal to play my brother, and then they had me with actually was the girl I read with, and they liked her, and they were like, "Do you guys like each other?" And how is this?
No, I don't want to work.
You know, that was it. So yeah, you know, right? Because that's the thing to say. But no, it worked out really well, and we all got along, and we found some beautiful things.
Yeah, the relationship between you and your brother was awesome. The story is basically loosely a guy's incarcerated and his brother's outside, and the world of how you get out of that rat race and that rut with trying to do the right thing, and it all goes awry at the end. But yeah. You guys had to sing. I mean, you had to sing some legitimate jazz stuff. You had to play and improvise. And I understand that the singing part of that was kind of started out as an improvisation and then just kind of morphed into what it became on stage. Is that true?
Yeah, it was a journey to get to that, because what I told you, like you said, I played piano, and I play guitar. I play piano, but I play guitar a lot better than I do piano. I don't play piano very well. I fake that, but what I was telling them, like the day we got in there, when they're like, "Oh, you play piano, you can play this stuff," and like, "Oh, like you guys sing, so like you can jazz scat," and I'm like, "No, those don't mean either of those things when it comes to jazz, because jazz musicians are just
it's a different
freaks,
beast,
Yeah. And they're like, I tell people when they ask me, because I don't like, I'm an actor, musician, and the musician's part, like, much smaller than the other part. But people ask me about musicians or talk to musicians, I'm like, musicians are some dudes when you've ever met. These people are just, their minds work in a different, they know the insides and outs of all of music, and that's how they work out. Jazz in the way they do. So when you talk about improving jazz or improving scat, when it's not what you do, or it's not something that you've done, it literally feels impossible. And we had days where we were just like, oh my God. Luckily, Cleve was amazing. Cleve Douglas.
I love Cleve.
Man, that dude is so talented and was so gracious and patient with us. And he came in and,
so he was kind of like a vocal coach, right?
He was,
Cool.
and he taught us how to scat, and it was like, you know, um, I remember like the first day he scat, and I turned to Kristen and I was like, "We're not gonna be able to do that." I was like, "What do you think?" I was like, "What? This is a couple of weeks. Like, you want? No, we're not." So we, it was a compromise and a middle ground. I was like, we can take. I am like decently musically inclined, so I
Right.
can take the skills that I do have and mix them with some things that he teaches me
I was
and
going to
give
say
us
though,
a path to do
as
that.
someone that sings jazzy, I'm a jazzy standard singer, but I
Yeah.
don't consider myself an authentically jazz persona either in terms of what I
Mhm.
do. But here's the thing, jazz isn't just about scat. Scat has to be organic to what you're coming out of, which is the people
Yeah.
who do it well do it that way. And jazz and music in general is more about time. And as a musician, you had, and certainly as a good singer, I mean, you're a great singer. I think you had that all in place. So it probably was a little bit easier for Clive. Once you probably had a seed to the fact that you're not singing so much as making a sound in the form of an instrument. That's the hardest part to get over when you're
Yes.
trying to, was that true for you or?
It was that, and it's like when I tell people, like, I'm not a shredder when it comes to guitar. I don't solo, I don't
Mhm.
noodle. Like, I'm a very good rhythm guitarist,
Mhm.
like in the way that singer-songwriters do. I do the same with piano, partially because my skills are not like, I never learned I taught myself both of these instruments, and I never into the music in the theory of a lot of it.
Mhm.
I know some of it, but not too much. These jazz improvisational artists know this theory in and out. Like, it's
Yeah,
amazing to hear them
it's
speak and
math.
to watch the way they move and interact. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
and
math.
I was like, so the improvisational part of it, for me to sound as good as it's supposed to, it's organic within already having all of this knowledge.
Right.
They do it organically, but they have all of these tools,
Yeah.
tool belt to pull from. So we kind of, Cleve taught us a few, and we narrowed those in, and we locked those tools that he gave us in to the best of our abilities, and then played within our parameters. And Baz did a great job
I
at
think you did a
like
great job because as someone that knows what that genre is, I was sitting in the audience going, wow, quadruple threat on their threat on their parts. It was really, really awesome. So you must be an
thank you.
amazing actor because you had me completely there
Oh
in
man, it was a
believing that
lot of
this is your
acting.
thing. No, good for you.
That's
Good for you. I mean, that's
awesome.
our jobs, right? Let's talk a
Yes.
little bit personally. I mean, the pandemic. We're stuck in apartments. You said you're in Cleveland?
Yes.
You're in Cleveland right now?
Yes.
And what are you up
Yes,
to?
I
What are
am.
you doing? I know you're not acting any
Uh,
place, or are you online doing
no,
anything or?
it, um, so I was doing a show in Syracuse. I was in Syracuse doing Fences, and we had our first 2 weeks of rehearsal, and then the Wednesday or the Thursday that Broadway was shut down, they were still figuring out. Um, they were still figuring out the rest of New York and figuring out, what that meant for the rest of New York. So they were like, "We're going to continue. We'll be fine." Our audiences to 100 people, and then an hour later, that was a Sunday. They were like, "We're shutting
Oh, geez.
it." And
That's hard. Yeah.
it was so unfortunate, and the show is so beautiful. Hopefully we're still going to get to do it. I know they're
Hmm.
planning on it, but it's a beautiful cast, and like, we were putting in some really great work. Ted Lange was our director,
Wow.
and he was phenomenal to work with, and it was just really cool. But so then Hunter Foster, the artistic director, he's amazing, super awesome, and he offered us to stay there, because he knew how bad it was in New York. So he's like, "You can stay in your housing or go back to New York or go elsewhere." I stayed in Syracuse for a couple of weeks, and then my whole family was coming back here to my parents. Like, well, my brother was going to come back, and my sister was going to come back, and it was just like, this is looking like it might be for the long haul. So I came back home to Cleveland instead of going back to my apartment in New York. And I've been here since like the end of March.
Has it been a great bonding thing with the family? Has that part of it been good, or are you ready to kill each other?
Yeah.
Or half and half.
It's half and half. It depends on the day. It depends on the day. It really does. This is the longest I've been home since I went to college.
Yeah, it's weird.
So
Yeah.
it's been a very, so it's very strange for me. I'm definitely ready to get back to New York. But it's been cool. Like like you said, I've worked or done a few little line things with friends who asked me to be a part of either readings. I did a little group study reading thing of Hamlet. That was really cool.
Hamlet.
Yeah, that was fun.
Wow.
And that's, yeah, it was cool to hear people's perspective. And it was a kind of an open conversation. They would send us the notes for the days we couldn't go and all that stuff. And it was I learned a lot. And that was cool. I've done
So
some
what does
music like
forsooth actually really mean?
yeah, that's what basically like, it was 2 hours every 4 weeks.
Oh my
of that.
goodness. Wow.
Yeah, but like when you get 30 people who just like, I mean, there were some brilliant minds in there. So just to hear the questions that they asked and the things that were, it was cool for me to learn.
They
From
say as an
that.
actor, everybody has to do at least one Shakespearean thing, so that must be
Yeah,
a
I've
cool way
been
to expand your
fortunate to do a
chops a
couple.
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love the language, and I always have. So like,
Mhm.
I've been fortunate to do a couple of them, and I did a hip hop telling of Othello the remix at the West Side Theater a couple of years ago, and that was really cool. So I've gotten to dabble with Shakespeare in a bunch of different mediums in a bunch of different ways, and hopefully I get to more. But yeah, I've done that and some music, played some
What's
music, and
your academic background? Did you study theater and
I
art or
went
music?
I went to Baldwin Wallace Conservatory of Music
Fabulous.
for music theater. Yeah,
Mhm.
so it did everything for me. Like it really, the training was everything.
Mhm.
And my mentors were great, and they've always been super supportive. And I learned, but because I didn't come from studying in high school, so I never really did. Like, I had done a couple of shows, uh, and never really done anything, and learned so much in college. And yeah, I ended up at the right place. I was very fortunate to get in. And yeah, I spent
The
4 years there.
When we were talking before we went on camera, you had mentioned that you had been doing some virtual acting coaching or
I did a little
workshops.
master class. Yeah, I did a little workshop. I did a couple of people. I've coached like a couple of monologues. I coached a couple for the ABC showcase. There
Hmm.
were some people doing, they called half an hour with them on Zoom, and we did what we could. I'm helping another friend with putting together his singing, acting reels to submit to agents right
Great.
now while things are going. So that's cool. Doing some video things with him to work on those, and then just trying to like spend time. I mean, trying to take the time that has been given for me, like
Right.
for ourselves, like for
Right.
myself. I probably could have used some time for myself.
Yeah. Before,
We're
right.
forced into.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I'm trying to
It's a
do some time.
humbling thing in a way, but it's also a gift if you take, I always believe in if you take a negative and reverse it and look at it from as positive a light as you can. We've been given this time to really hone our skills and study and chill back and get to Reno family and all these other things. I mean, I'm looking and longing for the day when things go back to semi-normal for all of us, but it's really hard for the people in the arts because everything just stopped. What's going on with your apartment in New York? Is someone staying there? Or?
Yeah, that's a whole another situation. I was place, um, and luckily the people were very gracious, and we
Nice.
we worked it all out. And I'm planning on heading back like in the next couple of weeks, actually. And yeah, so that was a good situation for me. I spent a lot of time doing, like, not doing what you said, not turning that negative into a positive, and it was
Right.
just, I was like being so negative about it all, and it was not good. Like, it was not healthy, but I was also choosing to just look at that part of it and to dwell in the
Mhm.
negativity. Like, I was supposed to a dream contractor right now. After Fences, I had another show coming up in New York, and that was like, it was about dream
Yeah.
idols,
Yeah.
and that's not happening. So I spent, so upset about it. Instead of flipping it around, like seeing the positive, I've spent like time with myself, just asking, like just meditating or doing this or doing whatever it may be, like for my own personal growth. I get up every day, try to work out before 10 a.m. Like, so I get a good,
so it's
you
done,
know,
yeah.
a good workout in. I feel good, like, you know, trying to eat well. Obviously, I'm drinking way too much as we, but
Aren't we all? I was so
no,
glad that liquor stores were considered essential. You know?
oh,
I don't know, I think we'd kill a lot more people if they weren't considered essential.
Something would be, I would have burned down my house. I don't know what would have happened, but it would have been good. But you know, I've like, so now I'm in a pretty good, fortunately. There are days still where I wake up and I'm just like, oh, and there's so many things going on, like politically and like, you know, in all types of ways. So like waking up and dealing with this, but then still waking up and dealing with like the traumas of not to be dramatic, but of being a Black man in America right now, and all the things that
There's
every day
no being dramatic about it. That's just a fact. I mean, running while
on
Black. I mean,
lockdown,
come on.
and still every day something comes up. That's what just blows my mind. It's like, you know, there is no pause from that. Everything is paused to me but that. So sometimes I do wake up and I'm just like, man, you know, but looking at positives, reading, trying to write a little bit, like musically, which sometimes gives me anxiety and stresses me out, but like it's kind of been cool for me to outlet whether I like the song or not. I'm like, I'm disputing the things
I've been
that
writing. I've been
that
writing more because it's an outlet, you know.
Yeah.
In terms of, you know, you're just tremendously talented, and I'm not blowing smoke because, you know, I don't really even know you that well. I met you briefly. We did one little quickie show together in terms of singing one song on the same stage, and I had to leave. But I really wanted to kind of hang with you and as a producer, get you into things because I just find you a fascinating human being. And I just want to say that just trust, Roderick, that those jobs are going to come back to you because you're that talented and they'll come back to you. So just have faith in that.
Thank you.
No, seriously. I want to ask you in closing down this little mini interview with you. First of all, are you willing, I'll get your information and put it up on the website. Do you want to work with people? Are you willing to take some clients in?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, good. So we'll make that happen. I'll coordinate that.
Awesome. Thank you.
And the other thing I wanted to ask you in closing is, you mentioned mentors earlier on. Do you have a piece of advice to our viewers about something that one of your mentors gave to you that kind of changed the course of your life or just changed you personally or professionally? Is there something that you can think of?
I think there's the two big things for me that I think I mentioned or have mentioned for. Did I lose you?
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, that I meant that I tend to mention often to students or to friends or just young people, anyone who asks. The two things that were instilled into me that really changed me and helped me in school were, one, like my mentors they believed in me so much. They were insistent on me knowing that I could play any role in any show that I wanted. And like that was very important, especially then, pre-Hamilton, pre these other things, you know, pre-Oscar So White, pre all of these things that have like forced people into little things here and there. But it was like very, you know, I'm a Black leading male and like not a sidekick and character actor, and I don't sing all that high. I don't dance. Like, you know, it's like I don't do.
You don't scat? Don't ask him.
Yeah, like I don't. You know, I don't do those things. So it was like I was a strong actor, and I was a leading male, and they just put me in situations and in things to show me that there's no role or no thing that I can't do or that I can't. Absolutely. So then when I got to New York, especially now in my career, I've pushed and I've been the first Black person to play 2 or 3 dream roles of mine. And like I've pushed for these things and turned down some things because of it and missed some opportunities because of it. But my career's it's thrived. I mean, you know, there's always could be more work. But I've done so many things that I wanted to do and achieved things that I didn't know I would, and things that I wanted to because I knew that no one could stop me from doing anything.
So basically, they
That,
told you to think outside the box that other people want to put you in.
yeah, there is, there is no box for me. Like, I know myself, and I have to keep trying to know myself and keep bettering that, and then go into these rooms and be like, this is what I am. This is what my worth is. This is what I know, like I am grateful for being here, and I'm grateful for the opportunity, but like, this is what I'm bringing, and let's work with that instead of you putting me in a box. That, and just like hard work on top of the talent. The talent just won't do it alone.
It's true. It's a business. It's a business. It's called show business.
It could do it alone, but hard work is just so important. I had one of my mentors. I was cast in a play in college, The Book of Grace, at a professional theater in Cleveland, great theater, Cleveland Public Theater, and I was working with two like kind of giants in the regional theater scene. Like, they were just phenomenal, very well-known actors. It was a 3-person play, Susan Lloyd Parks play that just came in, and got it from the audition. Didn't even have a callback. And I felt something about like I wasn't doing as well as these people were. Like, I was like, I'm doing what I can be or whatever else, but I'm not doing. I feel like they're on a higher level than me, and I was called out about about writing my talent and not working as hard as I could have, as I could be working in so many different ways. And it wasn't like a knock towards me. It was just like, hey, you're talented, and
bring it.
This is what you're doing. But people will pass you. Yeah, people will pass you, and these things will happen if you don't work at 150% plus, capitalize on the most of your talent. So I think those are the two things.
Thank you.
For me,
well, Roderick, it's so nice to see your face. I miss you. When you get
so
back to New York, let's
too.
get back together. Okay, let's get together and
please.
figure
Thank
something
you so
out.
much for having me.
I'm going to send some people your way. So everyone out there, thank you for watching another episode of Urban Stages Artist Chat. If you want to get in touch with Roderick, go to urbanstages.org. We're going to have a link. And if you want to work with him on getting your monologues together or doing these video clips that actually will prepare you for auditions and stuff, he's your guy, because I can highly recommend him. Thank you so much, my dear. I'll talk to you soon, hopefully. Hang on for 1 minute. I'm going to close down the recording.
Cool.